Every now and then you might notice two movies with similar plots are released right after another. Ants and a Bug's Life, Dante's Peak and Volcano, Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down. These are called twin films. I've always been interested in these, and I decided to form a council of myself, Gooch, and Klemmer to go through and review some famous instances of twin films to decide which one is better. We're going to grade them by 5 categories: the plot/writing, acting, technicals, directing, and general entertainment value. We will each pick which movie we thought won that category, and whichever movie has the most wins at the end will be declared the better twin film. Welcome to Déjà View. All right, welcome to Déjà View. We are your hosts, Kenjac, Klemmer, Gooch. This is our first ever matchup, and it is a timely one. It is Christopher Nolan's 2006 magician movie, The Prestige, versus Neil Burger's 2006 magician movie, The Illusionist. Two movies that I think, at least one of them, fairly near to our hearts. The other one, I feel like, has become kind of a laughing stock.
Yeah, it's become kind of a punchline, I think, right? For these kind of movies, like these twin movies.
Yeah, and I don't know if we necessarily feel the same way about it after doing our rewatch, have we?
I think it's the poster. The poster is like not. It's just lame as hell. It screams 2006. Like, what is?
And we just rewatched it. Both of us rewatched it over the last week, both movies. So just to kind of give our quick thoughts on them and run through what like their basic numbers, all that sort of stuff. The Prestige: two magicians dismantle their lives to outmaneuver each other following a shared tragedy. They run across Victorian London, sacrificing sanity and safety to master a teleportation feat that defies all logic. Directed by Christopher Nolan, written by Nolan and his brother Jonathan, based on the 1995 book of the same name. Stars Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Scarlett Johansson, Rebecca Hall, and David Bowie. 77% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.3 average on Letterboxd. Made by Newmarket Films, cost $40 million to make, made $109 at the box office. I would have thought a bit more.
Yeah, and that's worldwide.
Yeah.
So that's not domestic.
Yeah. And October 20th, 2006 was its release date. But you rewatched it, I think, most recently. Actually, I rewatched it last night.
I rewatched both of these.
Yeah. What did you think about The Prestige on your rewatch?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I remember. It's a great movie that has a lot of flaws, but when you have an amazing director and you have an amazing cast, it can make those flaws kind of sanded over a little bit. There are a lot of things kind of like if you kind of pull the thread of like the story, it kind of falls apart pretty quick in some ways. But the rest of the movie itself is so amazing and so incredible that you're okay with those flaws, or at least I was.
How about you, Gooch?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before when we did our Nolan character ranking draft when Robert Aaron Gier came up and the Bordens, but it really is just like you see all the Nolanisms like coming into place. Here specifically, like obviously they're there with Memento and following, but here you can really feel his interest in like the great man, the ideas of jealousy, which show up in Oppenheimer, show up in Interstellar, show up again in the Odyssey. I mean, it's really just like proto Nolan, and it has the flaws, like it definitely does, but it's just a great fucking. I love throwing this movie on, especially like late at night. Has that great ambiance to it. It really does.
And do you think, too, with The Prestige, when you look at some of his movies that come after it, some before it, this is the first time where he's like doing time mixing and it feels less brute force. And it's a lot more natural. And I think that kind of got fixed a lot in the editing room. And I also just think when you're talking about, like you just mentioned, unchecked ambition in characters does become a major kind of...
An obsession.
Yeah, major obsession, ambition, all those things that kind of like they really just are hammered home with him. And he loves that. And I think it works in every movie he's made, essentially. Even if you go into... Batman. Like, Batman does the same thing.
He's obsessed.
Yes.
Like, he's an obsessed character. Like, a lot of these guys are obsessed. Also, a lot of them are, like, lonely guys. Like, think about even, like, Inception. Insomnia. These are, like, lonely guys that become obsessed with something, and it can either destroy them or kind of give them purpose. But he's very fixated on that theme, which is a theme that I think is really interesting and to watch.
Yeah. And then The Illusionist. In turn-of-the-century Vienna, a magician uses his abilities to secure the love of a woman far above his social standing. Directed by Neil Burger. Written by Neil Burger, based on the 1990 short story Eisenheim, The Illusionist. Stars Edward Norton, Paul Giamatti, Jessica Biel, and Rufus Sewell. It is Sewell. I've said it a million times. It's Sewell. But it just feels so close to sewer, it feels like it's saying it wrong. 74% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 3.4 average on Letterboxd. Made by Bob Yari Productions. Cost $16 million to make, which is crazy. When you look at some of the production value on it, made 87. It's nuts. It came out in August 18th of 2006, around 60 days before The Prestige came out. How about you, Gooch? What did you think on your rewatch of The Illusionist?
I have not. I saw this, I think, at Redbox. Like, this was like a Redbox rental for me. And I think it was probably after I watched The Prestige. And I was like, well, now I got to watch the other one. Yeah. I got to watch the other one now. And good Lord. I'm not going to say anything too bad. If you could hear that horn coming through, somebody was angry about what I was about to say. But I was actually really surprised by like how good this movie. I thought it was very good, like a lot better than I remember. Learning about it, I did not realize it was like a Sundance premiere, and like you said, made for $16 million. Like this was a kind of small movie and very stylized.
Very stylized.
Like Neil Burger, who also did one of my favorite movies, Limitless.
That's right.
Which is also a very stylized movie, high concept, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'll be honest. Not as good as The Prestige, but we'll talk about it. Yeah, it was good.
How about you, Klemmer?
Yeah, I don't. It's the mildest of recommendations for me. This one, I saw it, when it came out. It's funny because like you think back to 2006, Edward Norton really was supposed to be the heir apparent. I've said this before, but like how like if you look at the movie, the score, it's Brando, De Niro, and Norton, and that made sense at the time. But like he kind of got cucked at that spot by DiCaprio and even Bale, and we see it here with The Prestige. But like we were talking about earlier, Illusionist got nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
And Prestige, I don't believe, did for anything. And the Oscar got nominated for was Cinematography, pretty decent award. So like The Illusionist, we need figure in Norton and Giamatti too, coming off of Sideways a few years earlier. Like this came in with not to say a ton of hype. It was still an August release, but it was a movie that was like very well respected when it came out. And it's funny how over time, the last 20 years, it's become like kind of this punchline. I don't think it deserves to be a punchline. I'm sure if we do this show long enough, maybe even by next week, we'll see movies that are worse than this for sure. So this isn't a bad movie, but to me, the end is like, and we'll probably get into spoilers and stuff later, but the end to me, it kind of like just, I don't say ruins the movie, but definitely taints it. It's like, all right, it is a very weak ending.
Yeah, I think I'm in the camp of Gooch where I liked it a lot more than I remember liking it because I didn't watch either of these movies when they came out in theaters. I watched them all later in life, and my thought process was, well, I love these Nolan movies that are coming out, and I'm watching these in theaters. I'm going to go watch that. Like that didn't have, believe it or not, Neil Burger didn't have that effect on me. But I went and then go watch The Prestige. I'm like, this is fantastic. And then I hear about The Illusionist. I see this dumb poster, but I'm like, all right, let's check it out.
Poster's so stupid.
It's a silly poster, but again, $16 million budget.
He's holding an orb, though. At what point does he hold an orb in this movie?
Not many orbs.
He does a lot of
There's no orb, right?
It's an orbless movie, right?
He does a lot of this.
The Prestige has an orb.
Yes.
The Prestige has orbs.
Yeah.
Why does this poster have an orb in it?
Maybe they thought that would get more people into the seats or something.
People love their orbs.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But it definitely was way better than I thought it would be. Stylized, like you mentioned, way more interesting in production value than certain parts of The Prestige when you consider how much more money, like over double the amount of production budget for The Prestige. So I would say very impressed by it. I'm out of the entire movie, I'm the least impressed with Norton out of it. Which
he's wasted here. I mean,
yeah.
So is Giamatti. Also, this movie doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah. I mean, like really doesn't make any. I understand some musician movies and like whatever we're supposed to, but like this really like stretches like
your suspension.
What is possible here?
Which is where I think Nolan is a little bit stronger when we get
much stronger.
Yeah. So let's start out with the categories. First category being the plot or the writing, I guess. Starting out with you, Gooch. What did you think? Which one of these do you think had a stronger plot or stronger writing?
I mean, The Prestige has the stronger plot. And maybe it's just because I gravitate towards that story like we were talking about before, like a story that Nolan is obsessed with. But I thought it was just tighter in what it wanted to display. The Norton, the Illusionist has it is more fun in certain ways because it's doing so many different things. Like it's a magician movie, it's a romance, it's a drama, it's political intrigue. There's a lot of things going on here, which The Prestige just doesn't really try to do. So plot-wise, I think even if it has its flaws, The Prestige, like there are threads you can pull at. I do think it's just tighter. It's a tighter movie.
Yeah. How about you, Klemmer?
It's funny. This is the weakest of these categories for both movies.
Yeah.
Prestige doesn't border on the. I'm going to talk spoilers here, so if people haven't seen this movie, but I'm guessing they have. This movie's been out for 20 years. For instance, The Illusionist. Like, how is any of this possible? How
I thought it was real magic until the end. I was like fully convinced. I was like, does this movie end where it's actually real magic?
It's like but how isn't it? How is it not? Like it's a projection of him, I guess. Is that what we're supposed to believe? What projection, even in modern day?
Is like doing the Adam Levine hologram. Or
it's a silent projector, and also like the ability. Even that little boy walks through so they don't even care about any sort of reality. But then when you have the twist ending where she's alive because of all of the magic or the illusion of it all, but the illusions aren't real illusions, and it goes back to kind of what we talked about what's the magician movie? All the cast with
Now You See Me?
Eisenberg.
Now You See Me?
Yeah, like we talk about on that one, like watching people do magic in the movies isn't impressive because like it's special effects. It's not interesting. This is where the Nolan movie I think really stands out. Is like the whole thing is like all those magic tricks seem achievable in whatever 1904, whatever year they're supposed to be in. Like that all seems like it's workable, and they're all things to transport a man. Well, it works because yes, he has a twin. Like that all makes sense and all works. My issues are more the details, and I'm kind of nitpicking here, like the blind stagehands. Like what? That doesn't make any sense. Like and then Tesla, I guess, can do magic, but like
Yeah, I love that though.
Like that-
that's just David Bowie. He can.
Yeah.
I don't even think of him as Tesla in the movie. I'm like, that's just David Bowie.
But like that to me, kind of like it kind of undercuts the premise of the movie to me. But like I said, these are nitpicks here. The story is the weakest of both, but the story I think for Illusionist actually is very weak. I think it's I think the ending is also rushed. Why is Giamatti laughing? So in other words, the guy that he's working for, he basically just accused him of being a murderer, and he wasn't one.
Yeah.
Like that to me is very weak.
Yeah.
Very very like honestly like. Astonishing. I'm surprised you guys are so forgiving on this.
So you guys are both on the Prestige here. I'm also on the Prestige, and I do think a big part of it is that, like, when you think about, and like you're saying with the whole sort of magic stuff with Tesla going into the third act, like the third act kind of revolves around Nikola Tesla having a lightning machine that clones people. That should be absolutely ridiculous. We should be watching that and being like, this is stupid. I'm not bought in. My suspension of disbelief is really struggling right now. But I'm really, at least in that, kind of bought in. And I think that kind of goes to both the Nolan's ability to kind of weave stuff in a compelling way, or just a little bit stronger. And I think, especially when you rewatch Prestige, there's way more rewatchability. There's a lot more of like, here's little hints and threads and stuff and like moments where you're like, oh, how did I not realize this is what was going to happen? Like 10 minutes into the movie. So there's a lot more of that. There's none of that in The Illusionist. Like,
Well, they try to make it like, how did I realize that I guess she's drowning dead, and she takes a serum and popped up.
That's
like
it.
I don't know how this didn't anger you guys. You guys are very kind.
A little more forgiving, I think, is because I feel like the sense of magic. I think
I'm in the bag for Burger, baby.
Yeah.
You're a
I'm in
burger
the bag.
boy.
I'm a burger boy. Like,
You are.
What happened to Burger? Where's he at?
Well, he made a movie I saw a year and a half ago called Inheritance, which was made on iPhone.
Okay.
It's not a good movie, but it's an interesting one because it's basically all like shot. Like everyone you've seen, it's not an actor except for
guerrilla,
the people actually speaking lines. So there's no extras. The extras are like real people living their lives. It's not a good movie, but it's a what's the word for it? It's a
like you appreciate a swing.
yeah, it's a big effort movie.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
We were just talking about like Soderbergh did that with Unsane, like shot on an iPhone, like, and fucking Sean Baker's done it too. Like,
Yeah,
appreciate a swing.
to do they do like a chase scene like an India like food market. Like
Yeah.
that's hard to do on a motorcycle with like no extras and no stunt people. So I appreciate the effort, but the movie's pretty weak. But I said we'll get into obviously direction and stuff later. But my issue just is the story is very very so weak. I'm kind of shocked Norton even signed on to do this.
Yeah.
Have you considered that Jessica Biel might be the hottest woman I've ever seen in this movie? Ever.
And that's why you signed on?
I liked the very period accurate skin tight pants that she wears at the end of the movie, where you can literally pick out the like the dimples on her ass cheeks.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that from Neil Berger. That was a great creative decision.
She's pretty stunning here.
She is, and I didn't even mind. This is how pretty she was. I didn't mind when she gave up on the Hungarian accent like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, the accent. Okay, so that's all three of us are on Team Prestige for plot and writing.
Yes.
But now let's get to acting, which we can
Okay.
talk about a little bit. Starting with you, Klemmer. What do you think? Which movie do you think had the better acting?
Yeah, I mean this isn't even close. Prestige by a mile here. Hugh Jackman is so good in this movie, and so is Bale and Kane, but Hugh Jackman in particular. I love that with him, he's not afraid in this movie to be unlikable, and neither is Bale. But Bale, you kind of know that from him. But from Jackman,
He's pathetic.
Yeah.
He's
is
like pathetic. Like he has his girlfriend like go hook up with his fucking rival just to get secrets.
And then he even has this great line during. He's like, "I don't care about my life. I only care about the
crowd, adulation."
The secret. No,
Yeah,
I don't care about. I need to know how he does it.
Yeah.
So he even dismisses his own dead wife. Like he becomes so obsessed. But I love how Jackman kind of sinks his teeth into it and is willing to be that unlikable. Bale is so good here. Kane's obviously doing kind of Alfred Redux.
Yeah.
But it works. I mean the acting here is off the charts. Kind of what Scarlett Johansson's good in this.
Yeah.
Like everyone kind of hits a home run here. So I mean. In comparison, I'm not saying that Illusionist is bad acting at all. You have two very good actors in Norton and Giamatti. Both are wasted here, I think. Beale, I mean, she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. It's the acting, and then I think Rufus Sewell.
Yeah.
He's a fine villain.
Yeah, I actually liked him
he's
quite a
got
bit.
he's got heavy villain.
So
face.
I put the acting for like Illusionist as like fine, but the acting in Prestige is like borderline elite.
Yeah.
You're in the same camp?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, and it's not that the Illusionist, like you said, has bad acting. I just think that the acting in the Prestige is phenomenal, like really fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same camp, but I would say you're not big on Giamatti's performance. I thought Giamatti was really good.
Yeah, I think he's
really
great.
liked him.
I think he's great.
I think
in
he's
this
doing
movie.
everything he can. I think the role is pretty poorly written.
I think the same thing can be said about the Edward Norton.
I agree
role too, though. But I think Edward Norton he's a great actor that also is kind of squeezing out like a pretty decent performance out of something that's just not there.
Could
he has
not
like
agree
this
more.
kind
Blood
of
from a stone
he's got
here,
this
yeah.
like kind of like wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah.
But it's amusing to me.
I really liked, like you were mentioning, Rufus Sewell, I think, is almost playing, in a way, a version of Hugh Jackman's character, where it's just like he's this pathetic, fail son guy who's got all the money in the world, but all he cares about is having the respect of all the other people, but he can't get it.
Can't get it.
And I feel like they're playing very similar roles, and considering Sewell has 1/4 the screen time, I feel like he did a really good job. Again, it just comes down to Beale, I don't think has a ton of work with, and accent work is really...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
I'll say the acting in The Illusionist is better than it has any right to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But it's still miles behind the Prestige, but that's not The Illusionist's fault.
What'd you guys think of young Aaron Taylor Johnson's
Yeah,
performance?
I completely... Yeah, texted you guys about that. Like,
right.
I did not know he was in this.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty good.
Me too.
Yeah. Fun fact, this is on the Wikipedia page. It says he took this role and then 2 years later he got married to his now wife. Pretty interesting.
That's...
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I wouldn't... That's... You say that.
I almost bought it.
You say that, and I'm not really that surprised.
No, but when he showed up on screen, I was like, oh, he doesn't really look anything like Ed Norton, but sure, let's roll with it.
Yeah, I think another thing, too, just to add on to the prestigious like accolades here, like, Bowie's great, I thought.
Yeah,
Andy
he's very
Serkis
good.
also...
That's
like,
a great celeb
Andy
appearance.
Serkis is good.
Yeah, Serkis
Yeah.
I thought was
Oh,
really
yeah.
good.
Even Roger Rees, he plays the lawyer in the beginning at the prison, like kind of negotiating with Bale, and he's really good. Everyone's
The
good.
guy that owns like the theater that kicks them out, I love that guy's voice.
Did we give a shout out to Rebecca Hall yet?
No,
Rebecca
she was
Hall.
also awesome.
Rebecca
Rebecca Hall is
Yes.
amazing. Like when
Yes.
she's like, there's a scene in the kitchen. Like I think they do
She's
it
like-
a couple times where she's like, I don't know who you are today. Like you're not,
Yeah.
Right.
You don't love me today. I think it's the line, and it's
But
so
why,
good.
Why doesn't he just tell her? I don't understand that.
That's what in the beginning when they talk about the Chinese guy.
Yeah, you got to live.
Yeah, he's like that. You have to have total dedication to your art.
I know, but
feel like that's the thing.
it seems stupid to me. Like,
That's where the obsession comes into play.
Yeah.
I know, but you'd tell your wife, like.
I
Also,
trust me, I agree.
also, she would find out.
that I'm more
Like even Scarlett Johansson's like I saw beards and shit like looking around like he doesn't use them in tricks. It's weird. Like she must be an idiot. Like that's what.
Well, they were using the beards to like sneak into each other's shows, right? To
Are they using the beards because they were switching in and out of
Fallon.
plane?
in reality,
Fallon.
yeah, but like they were
being
also
Fallon.
using them to sneak into each other's shows and like shoot each other and like fuck up each other's traps.
Oh no, I thought she was seeing basically the Fallon disguise.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so all three of us are on the same team for acting. Although again, I want to give credit. I do think that it's closer than you might think in retrospect because again, I think Rufus Sewell was really good. I think Giamatti was awesome.
Norton was good.
Norton was good. It's like blood from a stone. Like how much could he possibly get out of that role? And most of the other cast I feel I would say the same about. Now as far as technicals, which you can include cinematography, editing, lighting, color, sound, soundtrack, production, costumes, whatever. For me, I actually think the Illusionist production value I'm more impressed by.
I thought you were going score first, but production value, yeah.
But so just in general, as far as technicals go,
This is all lumped into one, right?
it's all lumped into one. So I would like if I were to pick and choose like editing, I'm going towards Prestige. But like on a whole, I think the soundtrack on Prestige or on Illusionist is really good.
Phil
I think
Glass, shout out.
Yeah.
the costumes are awesome. The production value, again, considering this is a $16 million movie, like shocked. They're all in location. I think they shot it all in Prague. Like I think it is an amazing.
They shot it I think in the Czech.
Yeah, they shot it in Europe.
Yeah,
like,
but not in Vienna. But
Yeah.
Not in
Yeah.
Austria, but
Exactly,
But, close,
yeah.
but it's in Europe or not Europe, but
not on the fucking
Yes.
soundstage
Right.
for which most
Correct.
of these would be
Correct.
in a $60 million movie. But like again, for the amount of money they spent, I am shocked by how great the costumes are, how great the sets looked, how great the location, everything. I think visually looked great. And again, soundtrack I think was a little bit overrated. So I would actually go with the Illusionist here. But how about you, Gooch?
Yeah, I don't know if I could go fully towards the Illusionist in terms of production value. I do think the Prestige has its own like highlights. And I do think The Illusionist has its flaws, especially in the way it's shot. At certain points,
I kind of like the sepia. I think it fits that era.
I do, but it's the vignette. It's the vignette that reminds me of like 2012 Instagram post, filtering.
To be fair, this came out before that.
It did.
And I think it fits that era so well because that's like you're thinking like that whole era of invention. I feel like that sepia is what I think of when I think of that.
And that projection is used in the, I guess, although we're not really told. I guess it's used in the movie projection. Also, it's crazy. No one ever walked in front of that projector and got in the way of like.
It was a hologram.
Yeah, it was just kind of a hologram.
I was waiting for him just to be like, and then just Tupac Shakur to come out of it.
So it's a hologram. It's not a projector.
No, it's a projection. I'm guessing.
Right. So like,
maybe
isn't it crazy? Like, you know how you put your hand in front of you can do like shadow puppets? Yeah. Like no one ever walked in front of this.
Yeah.
Like with that little boy walking.
What direction was it?
What if the light comes from the bottom of the floor
or the top
up into like a mist? Well, I guess that wouldn't make sense either.
No, like none of it and they don't even care about us. The thing is that the audience, that movie, The Illusionist thinks we're idiots. It's frustrating. It's a frustrating watch.
So you're actually on the Prestige team. Sorry.
I am on the Prestige team, but I do think the score for The Illusionist like blows. I can't even remember the Prestige score. Really,
it's like very not notable.
Yeah, at all. Which might just be the choice. But I think Philip Glass is just so underrated. As a composer, like super underrated, and I think he does a really good job here.
Yeah. So one for The Illusionist, one for the Prestige.
This is the closest category for me. The cinematography is close, but like
one is Academy Award nominated that year, and one isn't.
I know, and it's Prestige does look better at the end of the day, but it's very close. Like there are scenes just like with the hats.
Yeah,
and there are scenes just like
the electricity looks crazy.
Looks crazy, but I mean, in the positives are like the hats, like the David Bowie stuff is it just looks very interesting. The way it is, I can't not give it to Prestige, but The Illusionist in some of these categories, like you guys mentioned, scores, a couple other ones, maybe you could be like, oh, maybe The Illusionist has it there. This is close for me, but it's still Prestige.
I do think the lightning looked kind of goofy once they got into like the actual cloning effect. Whenever they did the lightning on the cat and they did the
lightning was goofy.
The lightning I thought looked.
And I did like in The Illusionist how he had like you had the candles up. Like I loved how his like stage looked.
Yeah.
And how Berger actually shot the stage. Like it just made it feel epic and made it feel very grand. Yeah. Even though he's in a small theater and you can kind of feel the anticipation from the crowd. So there are certain things, and you mentioned $16 million budget. So this is, I'm going to go Prestige here, but it's very close. The Illusionist did the best they could here.
So 2 for the Prestige here, 1 for The Illusionist. Now for directing, starting with you, Gooch.
I was about to. The Prestige was shot by a man named Wally Pfister.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff.
Wally Pfister did a lot of Nolan stuff.
But
did a great job in Insomnia.
Tried to pivot to directing.
Yeah.
Made a movie called Transcendence with Johnny Depp in 2014, and since then has been doing commercials and TV.
Yeah.
That's too bad because Pfister was a very good cinematographer.
Yeah.
Like I want to say
he won. He won for Inception.
Yeah.
Which is insanely impressive thing for a
which is one of the best cinematography jobs that you're going to find.
But he's got to have like a picture of Hoyt van Hoytema on his wall with just dart holes all over it, right?
I lost out. Shouldn't have tried to be a director.
Went from the top of the mountain. Tough. Direction. I mean, it's Nolan. It's Nolan. No, I'm in the bag for burger. I love a burger, sometimes a double burger, but yeah, this is Nolan. This is Nolan pretty easily, I think. Just like the way the movie flows, and we talked about it, like it's just a tighter experience, a more memorable experience. I'll probably forget about The Illusionist, and once again, I'll turn it on 20 years from now, and I'll be like, can he actually do magic? Again, I'll be like, does he actually do magic in this movie? Because I'll forget. But the Prestige, it's just memorable and well done. Like it's just Nolan.
1 for Nolan.
This isn't fair to Berger, and I do have some issues with The Illusionist, but one issue I don't have is how it's directed. It's actually directed very well. This is like a B+ job for him in a movie that I think is like a C+ movie. So he elevates the movie with his direction. But I mean, Christopher Nolan's made a movie that you could say is an A or A- here. Like he's made this. In my opinion, The Prestige is legitimately a great movie. And a big reason, maybe other than the acting, the sole reason is Nolan. I mean, we talked about on our show, like Nolan's the #1 director of the century.
Yeah.
So like this is like an impossible task for poor Neil Berger.
Yeah.
Like Neil Berger is unfortunately up against like the movies we're doing like next week. Neil Berger would have probably won that in a walk, but like unfortunately you're up against the best.
Yeah, he's got a tough job here. And I do think one of the most impressive things for Nolan here is not just like, it's obviously he directed it, but also wrote it with his brother, which I think when you think of the writing for The Illusionist, that's a point against Berger, because I don't think the writing in The Illusionist is particularly strong. But also, like, when you look at the period that they're in and the actors he has involved, they're not megastars at that period. Like, we think today, like, Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Scarlett Johansson.
Hugh Jackman's pretty big. You're right. Scarlett Johansson's not.
But
you're
like,
right.
At that time, all three of them, like, yes, they're coming up for sure. They're not this mega stars that they are, I think, now. Not even close.
No, Jackman's close. I mean, he'd already done Wolverine.
He did an X-Men.
Yeah, so like, he was a pretty big star. But
I think to get these type of performances out of these guys was insane.
Christian Bale had just done Batman Begins.
And he'd already done Psycho.
Work. That's like franchise work in American Psycho. I think you get insane performances from really good actors, and I think when you look at these actors' periods after this too, like they start getting more work like this. Like fucking Hugh Jackman gets Prisoners after this. Like Bale starts doing like way more interesting work outside of franchise stuff after this, and I think this is like maybe a starting point of that. And I think he gets really good work out of everybody involved. Does a really good job putting all the movie together. And there's just, again, nitpicky shit where like we would never put this toe to toe against like Oppenheimer, right? Like not in a million years.
No.
Like it's way sloppier than that. But I do think it is extremely interesting. And when you, at the end of the day, it is a movie about magicians, and I feel like it shouldn't be this compelling, and it is. He does like this Amadeus work out of something we should be almost laughing at, and I think it is a phenomenal job. And again, I feel bad for our boy Berger, but you're running into fucking like a literal brick wall here. It's tough. It's really hard. So I'm also.
It's like you can be who's like Devin, who's like a decent basketball player.
Like a middling,
like
Chris Middleton versus
versus Michael
James.
Jordan.
Yeah,
it's like that's not fair. Chris Middleton's a perfectly good basketball player.
Yeah,
but Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. Like it's unfair for Berger here. So I feel bad for Berger.
Yeah. So we are all three of us are on the team Prestige here. Now for entertainment value, general entertainment value. This is where you can kind of give, I think, a movie some points for being very fun. Klemmer.
Yeah, I kind of see what this is supposed to be, but I'm gonna go against that. I mean, it's the Prestige is also incredibly entertaining. That's the thing. Is like this isn't a thing where like the Prestige is like kind of like you're at the library and like yes, this is accomplished, but I was bored. Prestige is also more entertaining than The Illusionist, and that's just because Nolan is a big reason why he is one of our greatest directors, if not our greatest. He's making these smart, interesting films that look great, but they also are just entertaining as fuck. Mm-hmm. Like this is just an entertaining movie. If you're not at the I've seen this movie. I don't know. You guys have probably all seen this. I'm guessing we all have seen this movie at least half dozen times, maybe more. And if you're not on the edge of your seat the whole time, when like different, who's gonna get the one up, who's reading the journal, who's doing the trick. Oh, I gotta cut my fingers off. There's all sorts of shit going on. And if you're not at the edge of your seat with these tricks, the transported man, and when Bale pops out, and says, "Oh, come see me across the street." Like that stuff's amazing. Like that's just entertaining as fuck. So like, it's still the Prestige here, but that's not to say The Illusionist doesn't have moments in the stupidity where it is entertaining. It certainly does.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely the Prestige, and I think the biggest point in its favor is that when you first watch, and it's really not even when you first watch the Prestige, because it's like. When you watch it, you almost always immediately want to rewatch it, like that second, because while it is kind of revealing its tricks throughout the movie, that final trick and the final reveal is so great that you want to go back through and like watch it through the lens of knowing. Yeah, watch it through the lens of knowing these are two different people and kind of trying to pick out the performance itself as two different performances. I can't say the same about The Illusionist. I get like the trick, like you said, Klemmer, is just ridiculous at the end. Like it's just hardly a reveal. It's more of a heist than it is like a magic trick. It's like, at the end of a heist when they're like...
It's like the end of Ocean's 11.
Yeah, it's like...
But at least in Ocean's 11, you got the plan. This was just rushed at the end. Like the last 30 seconds is like, okay.
Yeah, like at the very end, they could have been like doing that kind of heist, like dun 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 dun, like at the very end, because it's just so like... It's not a magic trick. I wish they had shown like that orange tree trick. Would have been nice to have like show that reveal earlier in the movie. Like do more things like
here's
that.
Blueprints of some gears.
Because like the Prestige does show like how they're doing a lot of their tricks. They and that's fun to like. It keeps you very engaged through the movie. Is learning those and like you constantly get to find out. It's like this little nesting doll of tricks. I got to go with the Prestige again.
Yeah, I'm with you guys as well. I do think it just comes down to rewatchability is a big part of it, and just like generally having fun. Like I had a lot more fun with The Illusionist than I thought I would, for sure. and I do think it probably has a very bad rep in retrospect because of how good The Prestige is.
Yes.
Which is tough and brutal and mean and all that, but like it just, The Prestige is just that good. It is that good of a movie. The sort of like, you know, Amadeus dynamic between Borden and Angier is so great. Both the lead actors are that great. The weaving of the story is that great. The ending frame of seeing like the last clone that he has left, like that is that great. Like everything about it is that on this operating on just a different level of The Illusionist for the most part, with the exception, again, I think like some of the technicals work in its favor. But it's a really, really tough comparison. So
you talk about, before you end here, you did talk about an interesting point, which I want to mirror here. So you talk about like Bale and Scarlett Johansson especially, and some of these people kind of had a jumping off point. And Hugh Jackman, well, not a jumping off point, he still was able to, I mean, 20 years later, he's still a major, making major films that we care about. This is kind of like, the beginning of the end for Norton was, not the end, but the beginning of the end of him being considered to be like the heir apparent was probably Death to Smoochie, which is a movie that came out like 4 years earlier with Robin Williams. It's a comedy that failed. But this was kind of where the wheels started to get a little wobbly. Now, I know this did make money and did get nominated for Academy Award, but Time pretty quickly chose Prestige as the winner. Yeah. And then he does The Hulk 2 years later, and that's really the first wheel kind of flies off the car. And is it Norton's had this great kind of like comeback the last few years with the Dylan movie,
The Invite,
and then obviously The Invite. He's fantastic. Maybe he gets nominated again. I love Edward Norton. He's one of my favorite actors. I want him to succeed. I think movies are so much better when he's a big part of making them. Came back, a few years, with Birdman, but I feel like lately he's been getting more and more work and wanting to do more and more. I know he's like famously difficult to deal with. Yeah. Wants to rewrite everything. Thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. There's a lot of that, and sometimes he is the smartest guy in the room, which sometimes is a problem too. But I think this is kind of where you see the dovetail of Bale and him, and it is kind of where it just starts to...
Ships passing in the night.
It is. And it's interesting. That's why I think doing the series is so fun, because you are getting these little like glimpses into this, not only these movies, but also kind of like this time in movie history, for whatever time we're talking about, and kind of seeing like, whoa, what happened to these people, and how did doing these twin movies either help or hurt their career.
It's funny, I was mentioning to you earlier, like I, for the first time watching Modern Family, never watched it all the way through before. And I'm in the first season, and Edward Norton is in it. And like, can you imagine like Christian Bale being in an episode of Modern Family?
No.
In the first season of like an NBC sitcom? Like, and to think like you were saying before, it used to be like him or Leo. Like, who's the guy?
Yes.
Who's the guy?
And for a while, it was him. I mean, Fight Club and, that Rounders, and you go to 25th Hour and American... And
Score for whatever it's worth. Like, he's in these big guys.
Here, I got their filmographies pulled up, lined up next to each other. Let's start just after Titanic in 97.
And then you had already done Primal Fear and the Woody Harrelson
just
movie,
as a, like, kind of... So, Norton does Fight Club in 99.
Right.
And American History X.
Yes.
And Rounders in 98.
All great.
Then goes on to do... Keeping the Faith, The Score, Death to Smoochie, Frida, Red Dragon, 25th Hour.
25th Hours. Very good.
The Italian Job, which...
He's good in Italian Job. He's a good
But it's a dumb movie compared to the movies you're talking about, like Primal Fear or the Larry Flint movie.
Yeah.
And then he does give a great performance, in my opinion, in Kingdom of Heaven.
He is very
in 05.
good. And you don't even see his face. Which is very impressive.
But, I mean, Leo goes from... He takes that little break after the Titanic. Because then, like, Man in the Iron Mask had already been filled.
That had already been done. Yeah. He does The Beach.
He does The Beach, but then he does Gangs of New York.
Which did not do well.
Pairs up with Scorsese, does Gangs of New York, Catch Me If You Can, The Aviator, The Departed,
and by the way, Gangs of New York,
Diamond.
Gangs of New York and Catch Me If You Can came out like a week apart.
It's insane.
So that December of, 02? 03?
02.
That is when it shifted.
Yeah.
It was literally over like a 2-week period, because up until then, The Beach was a failure.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle, but it was a failure. And he does those 2 movies, and that's when everything switched. But you even have Bale. Like, Bale at some point passed Norton by.
Yeah.
And you guys probably remember that.
Yeah. I do think, it's probably just Dark Knight. I think those.
Yeah.
It's right around
he's
here.
The guy. Yeah.
It was also like American Psycho was immediately in the canon.
If I'm thinking of the point where I'm like, oh, Bale's the guy. Like, it was when the Dark Knight happens, because I like Batman Begins. I'm like, okay, like it's fun, but like Dark Knight happens, I'm like, oh, this is one of the guys.
This is one of the guys,
and he starts being cast in like way bigger roles.
That's fair.
And there was obviously Norton has like this aura.
Yeah,
Norton had an aura about him, but like the Bale, and it's kind of worn off, and has like he's done more press and things like that, where he's just more relatable now. But there was a while there where he was like this unknowable method actor, having tirades on sets and changing his weight so frequently and doing such a wide array of projects. He was very mythical at one point. Like he really was. So Bale like just ascended past, I think, anybody's expectations for him.
And I feel like he's kind of lost his fastball.
Yeah,
And unlike Norton, he hasn't gotten it back.
He had kids, and I think he's really just taken time off.
Which I think. Well, like I said, I think the movie world is better with Norton, and I think the movie world's better when Bale's making good movies too.
Yeah.
I mean, he just did do The Bride.
Which is a swing.
Yes.
Didn't connect entirely.
Pale Blue Eye was, I think, he was good in the Pale Blue Eye.
I haven't seen
I didn't
that.
like the movie. Amsterdam was, again,
Terrible.
he's good, the movie's bad.
It's a mess.
Thor: Love and Thunder,
Just a
he's
mess.
good, the movie's bad.
Ford v Ferrari.
Ford v Ferrari is a good movie. He's very
but
good in it.
that's pre-COVID. That's a
Yeah.
long time ago, guys.
2019.
Even
Yeah,
Vice
like I
is the
said,
same thing. I just don't care for Vice, but he's good.
Took some time off. Now he had to prep for Madden, baby.
Yeah. Hostiles.
Well, yeah, we are getting back with Madden.
Which could be, I mean, David O. Russell hasn't made a good movie in 10 years, but who fucking knows? Maybe.
Maybe he's got it.
Maybe.
I'm hoping, because I would love a world where that's a really good movie, and we already had Norton do the invite this year. Let's go. Let's get these guys back.
But I forgot Hostiles, like the cast of Hostiles was just insane at
Yeah.
the time, like 2017. Like it was like Timothy Chalamet was like the 80th built
Yeah.
on it. Like that was a really good movie too. At least I thought so. So our big winner of our first episode
Was
is
it what? 1901?
14. It's 14 to 1.
14 to 1?
It's pretty much it's pretty big ass beating by Prestige, but pretty much what we expected. And it's more timely because we've been talking about Nolan. I feel like a ton over the last couple weeks. It's fun to kind of talk about his older work.
Fun.
I'll say too, it was fun to go back and watch both these movies. I
Yes.
hadn't seen, unlike you guys, I haven't seen The Illusionist in forever.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind going back, and I actually until like the last end, I'm like, is this a 3-star movie or a 2.5? I'm like,
Yeah.
for me, and then it was a 2.5 because the ending was so weak. But I'm like, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It ended at 3.5 for me. I'll be honest.
3.5.
I was very entertained.
Jesus
I mean, you got to
Christ.
keep in mind,
The ending's nuts,
Limitless is like 4.5 for me.
I do like
Limitless is like one of those just, I
Don't
love
watch
it.
Inheritance. You'd be disappointed.
No. You know who did like The Illusionist better, though? Fun note. Roger Ebert.
Really?
Raj gave it 3.5 stars.
Ooh,
really?
That's my Bill Simmons.
Wow.
And what do you
yeah.
give Prestige? 3?
3.
Interesting.
That is very interesting.
He probably. There are some critics I feel like that are still very latched on to the tit of Norton, and I feel like sometimes they're a little bit more forgiving.
I also think some of the older critics maybe didn't quite understand Nolan yet.
Sure.
I mean, they did it until about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
too.
People didn't. The critic community did not switch on to Nolan.
No.
Until Interstellar got like a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's the only one where I even have a little bit on that one.
A lot of his movies were sub 80, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Before we got to Oppenheimer.
So that's our first big winner. Some of the other ones we have on the horizon. I think next we would do Dante's Peak vs. Volcano. I think that.
I'm excited for that.
By the way, did you guys know there was a third Magician movie?
There was
In
a Woody
2006?
Allen movie. Right?
Yeah, that also had Hugh Jackman and Scarlett Johansson in
Yes,
it.
I did see that.
2006.
Yes.
What movie?
The Scoop.
The fuck? Honestly, we should have done Burt Wonderstone too. May as
But
well.
I didn't know that until I was doing research.
Yeah,
for the,
yeah.
So I'd already seen both movies, and I'm like, I'm looking up. I'm like, what is? I don't honestly. I
Never
don't remember
heard
that
of it.
movie coming
Yeah.
out, and I was 26 then. I don't remember it coming out.
Yeah.
So funny though, it was like on the Wikipedia page for The Illusionist. It was like it has the distinction of being one of 3 Magician movies released in 06, but the only one that doesn't feature Hugh Jackman or Scarlett Johansson.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, I think the other ones we'll be doing next would be Dante's Peak vs. Volcano, which I think will be very interesting.
I don't think I've seen either of those.
Really?
Actually, I've seen Dante's Peak. That's a lie. That's a lie
Dante's
because
Peak's-
I know how handsome what's his face is.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan's so
Yeah.
good looking in that movie.
Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down, which is I think we might even have to bring in fights for that one. Deep Impact vs. Armageddon, Tombstone versus Wyatt Earp. We got No Strings Attached versus Friends with Benefits, Observe and Report Paul Blart Mall Cop, Ants and Bugs Life, Same Private Ryan, Thin Red Line. The list goes on and on and on.
So
But I think-
I saw your list. You got a bunch of movies.
yeah, we had a whole bunch backlogged. I think the next one will be Dante's Peak versus Volcano, which I'm actually very excited for. I have not seen either since I was like a kid. And then both of them came out in 1997. Very, very
Oh,
excited to watch
no,
both
and
those.
I remember when these came out, I saw Dante's Peak released in the theaters, but there was a lot of talk. Just like with these two movies, like, can you believe there's going to be 2 volcano movies coming out roughly, and like, and which one would be better? So there was a lot of talk about that. Tommy Lee Jones in Volcano, kind of at the peak of his powers, and you have Pierce Brosnan, who hadn't even made Goldeneye yet. So this
Yeah.
is pre-Goldeneye, Pierce Brosnan.
Just the
but you have
handsome
Linda
man.
Hamilton
Yeah.
off of T2.
Yeah, which is that's humongous. I remember there's only one scene that really sticks out to me, and I still don't remember which one it's from. But there's one in one of those movies. There's lava, and they're in a subway tunnel, and a guy jumps into the lava with the kid in his arms, and he's like melting, and he like
God.
throws the kid as he's like burning up in the lava, and it scarred me to life.
I think that's Volcano.
I don't know which one.
I don't think it's Dante's Peak.
You don't think it's
No.
too dark for
And I
Dante's
think I
Peak?
have seen this clip, and I think it is Volcano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
It fucked me up.
We should have Meek Phil recreate that with real lava.
With real lava, correct.
Ooh, I
yes.
like that.
Yeah. But we will be back we're going to try this every 2 weeks because we won't have time to like watch movies along with the regular stuff we do. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with Dante's Peak versus Volcano.